Prue, I want to go to an issue closer to home. I was just talking to Michael Shoebridge about the risk of China. It's escalating. It's not going away, obviously. The Energy Security Board today says that more coal-fired power stations are set to close. We talked this week, obviously, about Yallourn. That shutdown will now happen in 2028 in the Latrobe Valley in Victoria, 4 years earlier than expected. But the energy body out today says analysts tell them Bales Point in New South Wales, a plant in Gladstone, and Loy Yang B, all of them too, are at risk of early closure. This is crazy. We know Liddell's shutting in 2022 in New South Wales. This is a ticking time bomb.
It absolutely is. And, you know, we should almost be mounting a class action against the politicians who are allowing this to happen. We know that this is just accommodating this pressure, this global pressure of these woke people who have no idea, and the hypocrisy of it, where we have countries like China and India who are not in any way accommodating any minimisation of carbon emissions, and yet we are being lectured to by Brussels and the world generally and ostracised because we aren't joining this facade of saying that we're going to go to zero emissions by, 2050, when most of us will be dead, or I certainly will be. And you just think, how ridiculous is this? And, it's just so appalling that we are putting our whole economy, our lives as we know it, at risk because of this ridiculous facade that's going on. It's just unbelievable.
Well, what about the fight that's brewing with Dad T and our Trade Minister, Rowan? The European Union, and we're in discussions to have an EU free trade agreement, Australia and the EU, they want to slap carbon tariffs, which are punitive financial burdens on countries like Australia because we don't have a carbon tax. Now, we went to an election against a carbon tax. The Liberals coalition won in a landslide. How is it that the EU can tell the Australian public what it wants to do?
Well, they may well be very well in breach of various trade, World Trade Organization treaties and so on if they do. But that aside, there's one big difference between Europe and us, and Europe is nuclear. It's that simple. France is virtually, large percentage of France's power is nuclear. And when the lights go out in Germany or England, they turn to France, or England itself has nuclear power. So this is, you can't have a system where Australia is being penalised. Exactly as Prue was saying, we are being played for mugs, and we should be very wary of all those individuals like Matt Keane in New South Wales, those members of the Liberal Party, Dave Sharma and others who are pushing for all this stuff, because we can't do it. It's simply not possible. Britain can do it with the help of nuclear. Places like Norway can do it with the help of hydro. We don't have that ability, so we are being penalised unfairly, and it's just going to get worse. And this madness has to stop. We've just had the coldest Northern Hemisphere winter in years, if not decades. It's a joke, as Prue says.
It is a joke. Another joke. Unilever. They manufacture Sunsilk and Dove and all of these things. Prue, if you can believe it. We used to be able to go to the supermarket and buy, a shampoo and conditioner for curly hair, for dry hair, for normal hair. But apparently we're not allowed to use the term normal anymore because it's not inclusive enough, they tell us. In a new era of beauty that's inclusive, equitable and sustainable, we can't use the word normal.
I mean, what is going on here? What isn't normal is for some marketing person to sit around and say, oh, we better get on to this identity stuff. Let's change. What words can we change? They're going to have conniptions when they have to talk about dry or oily or maybe frizzy. How the hell are they going to cope with that? I mean, do I need to look at a shampoo bottle to determine my identity? I mean, this is just extreme. I just hope that everybody who buys Dove, Sunsilk, Tréshomme just gives them the flick. I mean, it's just appalling that these companies, these brands think that they're, doing the right thing by telling us that normal ain't normal. Give us a break.
I tell you what, sometimes I reckon that I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time. If there was a time machine to get me out of here, I tell you, I'd be on it. Rowan Dean, Prue MacSween, thank you for your time.
Thanks.